Creating Instagram stories for a brand isn't as simple as it looks. A creator films 2 clips, drop a sticker, and boom, everyone instantly knows who they are. But you running the stories of a brand account don't necessarily get the same impact as the creator. You start without a face, without a story, and with the pressure that every story has to juggle everything at once, connect, sell, and explain all in one go. And that's how you end up posting stories just because you have to post something. And not because those stories follow a strategy. But it doesn't have to stay like that. In this video, I want to bring everything down to earth with you. That's why today I'm sharing 6 Instagram story ideas that work for any business, even if you don't want to show your face on camera. So let's jump in. One of the easiest formats to start with is UGC Content. And in case you're not really sure what UGC is, let's do a quick recap because sometimes we tend to think that everyone already knows what this term is. When I say UGC, I mean photos, carousels, reels, and even messages your customers or regular people like you and me create showing how your product has helped them or how your service works or how your product works. This type of format has a huge value because it doesn't come from you. Again, it comes from real people like you and like me. And when you share this type of format, well, it doesn't feel like you're trying to sell something. It actually feels like a proof of something valuable. For example, the brand The Mode keeps it super simple but super effective with this format. When a customer posts a story about their product, they don't just repost it. They actually repost it but also add a message of what they want you to see in that story. They add short lines like how to style this outfit. And that tiny bit of context changes everything because it's not longer a someone bought this type of quote. It's saying, hey, this person, which is like you, uses it like this. And that right there is priceless when you're still building trust as a brand. And once you have this type of content giving signs of life, there's another type of format that fits perfectly into stories, the behind the scenes. And this type of format isn't about exposing chaos or pretending you never stop working. Nothing like that. It's about showing the real process of your brand. That moment of, let's change this color. This prototype isn't convincing enough. Let's try a different version. All those things that you know your audience rarely sees are things that are super interesting for your audience because those are the things that make you way more human and way more relatable. For example, some brands share sketches, tests, references before a launch. And it works because you stop being just another account that posts the final product and you start becoming someone with ideas, with doubts, with concerns, and you share that with your public. And if you sell services, this can be how you choose concepts for a client, how you organize their content, or how you prep deliverables. Think about sharing simple clips that help people understand who's behind your brand. And once you've built that closeness, there's a format that works beautifully for warming up a product launch or a service launch. And that is the launch sequences. Because a single now available story is never, ever, ever enough. Stories need a little bit of context so people can understand what's coming, why it matters, and what can they expect from it. And brands like Shopform treat it almost like a mini movie. And you might be wondering, why does this work so well? Well, because it follows the same rhythm as any movie that has hooked you in the past. First, you have the setup, which is the context and the teaser that builds anticipation. Then you have the middle, which is the reveal of the surprise and the actual benefit coming from it. And finally, the ending, which is your call to action. And the best part of it is that if you already know your launch date ahead of time, you can record everything and schedule it in a blink of an eye. You can just upload the sequence to Metricool, schedule it in your calendar, and done. It literally goes live, as I said, in a blink of an eye, and that way you don't have to be posting everything 24/7. And after that format that I talked to you about, there's another one that helps your trust just grow 10 times more. And that is testimonials. Pretty much what your clients say. And with this, I'm not talking about teeny tiny screenshots that, let's be honest, nobody can read. I mean testimonials that are clear at first glance, and testimonials that look good and that can actually tell a story. Brands that nail this use a very simple structure. They usually do a line on top that summarizes what that testimonial will say, and that summarizes the results of it. For example, we doubled bookings in 2 weeks, or they replied in minutes. And right underneath of that line, they place the actual testimonial of the client. And you might be wondering, okay, why is that first line so important? Well, because it gives your audience context before they dive into the testimonial. And I really love this format because you don't have to convince anyone. It is literally your clients speaking for you. And if you save these stories in your Instagram highlights and just name them like testimonials or reviews, they will literally work for you every day. Anyone new who follows you will get instant access to those testimonials and will instantly build that trust that you need them to build. And there's another format that works really good when you want to show a transformation without over explaining it, and that is the before and after, because it's visual, it's fast, and people get this instantly. Brands like Avita use it a lot for their hair treatment content. You literally see the starting point of when the hair was not using that product, and then you see the after of the hair using their product. And if you want a more complete example of this, there's a brand that is called UGC, which is an interior design company. And on their stories, they show their interior design projects from the ground up. They literally will post the process first on their stories, and let's say that 2 stories after the process, they will showcase the final result. And this works perfectly because, again, you not only get to see the before and after, but you connect. You see the whole transformation right there and then. And because I talked about this, let me follow the same line and talk to you about the last format that I really like, and that is great if you don't want to over-explain things, but you know that they need to be there. And that is the step-by-step format. This is super clean, super direct, and it helps people understand what you're offering without any friction. And this idea is super simple. You literally can nail this out in 3 stories. The first clip, which is the promise, which is where you're gonna showcase how the products or your service works. The second one for the action, which will be the demo, the key part. And the last one will be the final results of that product or that service. Think of it as what you're gaining from it at the end. And if we want to put this into examples, let's say that you're selling digital tools. You can showcase how one feature of that digital tool works step by step without overwhelming your audience. Then if you sell services, you can showcase how to book with you or through a platform, or even how a first session starts or what they should expect, what you offer, yada, yada, yada. The real value here is that it actually makes your brand way more accessible. It removes the mystery of the product or the service. It reduces friction, and it makes people say, oh, okay, I know what this is about, or oh, okay, this is simple enough. And when something feels easy or understood, it sells more, believe me. And last but not least, the good thing is that you don't have to use all of these formats separately. They actually work even better when you mix them up on your week. You can literally start with a community UGC content, follow up with a behind the scenes, use a launch sequence when needed, and close with a before and after or a step by step. And that's how your stories stop being, hey, this is what I posted today, and start feeling intentional. And if you want to keep experimenting all of the formats after this video, there's a full guide that I will leave in the description with 17 formats super explained and ready for you to use on your Instagram stories. They're literally organized by goal and packed with real examples so you can feel inspired when you're doing yours. Again, the link is in the description so you can download it for free and plan your stories with intention and without improvisation. So tell me, if you had to pick one format for this week, which one would it be? See you in the next one, Metro Cooler.